Hey everyone, I'm Manuel Guimarães. I will be your labs teacher for the artificial intelligence course. And so I want to make a disclaimer here. There are a lot of better videos and resources online for you to learn how to use Unity. I just wanted to give my shot at it since I'm the labs teacher, and I will also give you a brief overview of what a normal artificial intelligence laboratory will look like. Okay. So first things first, let's start with the installation, and we will be using, as I said, Unity, and we will be using the version 2019.4. Whatever comes after the 4, it doesn't really matter. I think it works for any version that's 2019.4. Okay. So you need to install it, and for you to install it, you need to have Unity Hub. So you can download this from Unity website. And then you just need to select the version, I hope the right one. But if you can also install this one if you want. And then the modules for you to install, I would advise to build the Windows build support. If you want to build for Windows, if you have a Mac, you can use the Mac build support or the Linux build support according to the system that you're using. And you don't necessarily need to have this, but it might be good or cool to build the game or the experience that we will be working in. Okay. Now, I want to install it because I already have it. We will provide you the project files for the lab classes. For the first one, it usually is on the week before the end of the week before the lab. Okay. So we will for the first one we might provide you like on this Friday or Thursday or the beginning of the next week. Okay. So once you have that, there's some little teases here, but once you have that, you have the proper Unity version set here, and you just double click it, or you need to add it to the directory first, and then we'll start it. So currently it is opening Unity. You won't see them because it's on the other screen, but I wanted to talk a little bit about why we're choosing to use Unity. As Professor Pedro said, it's really quick to prototype. Okay, it's a really fast engine, as in it's quite easy to use. It's simple to use. It's not too demanding about the resources, unlike Unreal. It's also free. And most of the things on its asset store are, so not most of the things, but it's really cost effective. So if you need an asset that's high end and that it needs a lot of things to work, it's relatively cheap, and there's also a lot of promotions. And so for instance, for this project here, last year we only have like some arrows. Now we have some cars, some 3D models of the cars, as you can see them here. And these are all from an asset that's completely for free that you can actually take a look at here in the project. If you search for its files and you go here to the external, you will see that there's something called Stylized Vehicles Pack Free. This is where we got the models. Okay, so before explaining all this, I want to create a new scene just to show you a little bit of what it is. Okay, so I'll just write wherever and I will open this scene. So this is what once you start a new project, it will open like this with a new scene. And when I say scene, I mean, think about it as it is, as if it was the levels of the game, right? So this is level 1, 2, and this might be 0 because it has nothing in it, okay? And it also, the name is also fitting if you think about when you're shooting a movie or when you're filming something, that it contains all the objects within it, okay? So you need some actors, you need some items to have a scene, you need chairs, or you need an environment, and you also need lighting, and you also need the camera, okay? So when you have a new scene, it also creates here a main camera and a directional light in the hierarchy window. We'll be using, so this is my interface. This is really highly customizable, so you can put inspector here, or you can put it down here, or you can put it up here. I prefer it this way, and I think this will come with my interface because I think the files will export from here. But essentially, this is the hierarchy window, which has all the objects within the scene, and we'll get to that in a bit. It has the game window, which picks up what the camera is filming. You have the scene window, which is an overview of the objects that you're using and their location, okay? You have the inspector, which has the components of a particular object that you have selected, okay? As you can see, it changes. And then you have here the project's overview, so how the files are arranged, right? And you can see here editor, external material, scenes, scripts, etc. This is a file that I created on the take before. And the console. So here it will appear any warnings, errors, or logs that you want to make in coding wise. Okay, so this is for the programming language. Okay, which we will get to that in a bit. I don't want this video to be too long, and this is already my 5th take, I think, because it doesn't matter. Okay, so the simplest way to talk about this is to first create an object, and I will create a cube. And as you can see, I have here selected the scene, so I can take a look at the cube. I can take a look at the main camera. I can take a look at the directional light, which is always needed, and I can take a look at the cube. So if I double click it, he will zoom in, zoom out, or zoom on the other. And this is the mouse wheel. I just want to give like a brief. There are some good shortcuts that you can use to manage this, not to manage, but to handle it. So if you keep your Alt key pressed, and then you left click on the mouse, you can rotate it around the object that you have selected. So it's pretty good to see what's overall. If you click on the right mouse, you will rotate over it yourself. And if you click on the mouse wheel, you can rotate it, I think. Yeah, you can rotate it. And if you click on an object, for instance the cube, and then here you have several different other ways that you can alter it. So here I'm altering its position, either on the Y, on the Z, and on the X axis. But here I can also rotate it, like here, and then here, I'm not sure what this is. Oh, this is to increase the scale. Okay. And this is just to mess with the scene. Okay. So Unity is very object-based and very object-oriented. So, and here it's not an object, it's called a game object. As you saw before, I can create here a 3D object, and I can create almost any object here. So I can put a capsule here, I can create other 3D objects. I can also create 2D and make effects, etc. I can also create other cameras if I want to. Okay, but for now, let's focus on this cube here, or on this capsule here. I think it's better. And so this capsule is, we can change their name here, if you, whatever player, but I won't really do a player. And I will click here on the project just to get that warning out of here. And I can see they have like lots of components, but they're not that complicated. I hate when people do this. They go, oh yeah, it's not complicated, but it's because I've used this so much. So let's just dismiss, actually we can't dismiss this, but we can close them here. I will talk a little bit about this. So, but I want to talk about the transform. So the transform has all the properties of the object that are related to their size, position, and orientation. Okay, as you can see here. So I can change the position. Either I can click here and I can move it like this, left or right. I think up also functions exactly. If I hold it, or I can just say here, okay, I want it to be on -2 or -3 or -32 in this case. And here, if I press tab, I can also move, and I can might want to go up or down. So I can also put negative numbers. Let's just put it on 0, and I want to put this on 0. Cool. And here I can also again double click it just to get near it, and I can also change its rotation here, which I don't think we'll ever use, but I can also change its scale. So I might have put like way too much. So I can put it like 4. It's really fat but slimy, or the other way around. And I can also use negative numbers, I think, but they want too much, or they go the opposite way. And I can also put 0, which is kind of weird. Wow. So we just created something like a portal. And so here I won't get into these things. These are mesh filters. It just captures what it looks like essentially. And for instance, here on the mesh render, I can also change its materials. Every 3D object has a material. I guess I can say that. And you can associate it, either use a mesh render or change it here. But I can go like, oh, I want it. These are materials on the scene that he picks up. So I can just do weird stuff. But we won't be using these ones, I think. I can put like, oh, pixel colors, cool. And so once again, if I press tab, I can take a better look at it. I can also go here and look at where the camera is looking at, and I can just say, okay, why don't you get closer? And I get a preview. Okay. and the camera also has like all these different settings that we won't be using, but you can use if you want to. Okay, I'm fine with you guys changing how the original lab or the project files that we gave you, um, as long as it's only like skin, right? As long as you don't change the functionality and algorithms behind it, I'm okay with you changing some of the properties that affect the, how it looks. Okay. So you can go like this. Oh, what an amazing camera. And I can change the POV, or I can put it on orthographic, but I hate orthographic, so we'll keep it vertical. And you can also change the skybox. So if you don't want to look at the skybox, you can look at the solid color. And when I go here to the game, it looks awful. Okay. So now I need to talk a little bit about programming here on Unity. And so, if you went to the theoretical classes, you would know that Unity uses C#, okay, which is object-oriented, kind of. And so, if you want to create a script, you can do it both ways. You can create a script here. You can go like this, create a C# script, and then you can also drag it to the object, to the particular object that you want, okay. But we won't do that. Well, we can, but we want to create a new script, and we can create here a new script. So I can also search or just write script, and I will create a new script here, and I will say amazing script. And then he will create a new amazing script, or with the class amazing, okay? And so you can see that on the object it appears here. And then when I double click it, it will open the IDE that I choose, okay? And my default is, and the one that I recommend is Visual Studio. I haven't used VS Code, but I think it works as well. But Visual Studio, I know that it has an extension for Unity, so which allows me to do this, which allows me to link very fast and double click on the script, or double click on the errors, and just go to them directly, okay? And it also looks good. And we will get to debugging just in a little bit. I forgot to mention that Unity 3D is really good to debug, or I think I mentioned, well, I don't know. But Unity is really good to debug the code and to debug your prototype of the game, okay? And you can stop it on runtime, and you can add breakpoints, and you can, well, it's great. And so this is what C# looks like. Every new script of Unity starts with a void start and a void update. The void start function, you can remove these functions if you want. However, the void start is always run at the start of when you press play, okay? And the update is called once per frame. So I will show you here this very fast using prints, okay? So for you to print something, you need to put debug.log, and I will say I'm awake, okay? And I need to finish this, as you can see. And then I can put this here, debug.log. Updating or something like this. Sure. Okay. And so here, well, I will press play, and the things will be appearing here. If you have this, why is this so long? What the? This is weird. Oh my god. Okay, guys, don't worry. Everything's fine. Dude, okay. This would be like a little shorter. No, but just, yeah. Perfect, okay. So as you can see, the windows can be changed. And if you have this clicked on, so I can just remove the warnings if they don't appear, or if you don't want to see them. And when I press start, as you can see, I just paused it. And so you can see how many times he's updating. So this is called once per frame, okay? And here he said the first time he woke up, he said I'm awake, okay? Pretty cool, pretty simple, right? I hope. Okay. And every time you use debug.log, it also appears which kind of object, which function did you use to do that, okay? You could put other things there, okay? And as you can see, I just paused the game, so once I unpause, he will keep going. See, it's going up. But I can also move it on runtime, so I can move the objects, or I can change things here, and then I can go ahead and pause it, and he will maintain that position. However, everything that I've changed during the pause will be resetted once I stop running the game, I guess. Okay. I can also clear here the things, and I can also clear on play and clear on build and etc. Okay. Now, cool things about this is that I can use, at least for Visual Studio, I can use the breakpoints, and I can also attach it to Unity. So every time you need to do this, you need to attach it to Unity, otherwise this won't work. But every time you press here the play and they get to that line of code, the program execution will stop and it will give you, okay, so what do you want to do now? And I can take a look here at, for instance, what this means, but this is like irrelevant. But if I had a variable here, I could take a look at its value and I could stop it at runtime. So once again, pretty good at debugging, and you can also step over or step into what you're doing, right? So now he's stepping into Unity editor events, not intercepted events, because the debug.log is considered an event. Cool. I open a script that I don't want to look at. Okay, now, what do I want to tell you next? Okay, so this be careful, because when you stop the execution, the Unity keeps running, okay? I also wanted to tell you just a little bit about variables that you can change on the editor. So here I have this amazing script here, as you can see, and I might want to add variables to it that I can change here on the editor. So for instance, I can go like this: public float or public string my name. Oh my god, I can't write. Okay, my name. And then I can put here updating, and then I can like go like this. Oops. Name is. Sorry guys, I don't want to put a breakpoint here. Okay, so I can remove it. My name is, and then I can print that variable, for instance. Okay. And so now, if I just wait a bit for him to think, I can have I can write here what I want the name to be. Okay. And this gives us a lot of options, okay? So we can change things, and you can change behavior according to stuff that is like this. For instance, if I want the movement to go, for him to go left or right, I can just write here right, and I can put an if within the code to say if I'm right, then I go right, okay? Okay. Now, let's take a look at what a normal or a standard laboratory here will look like. So I can open here the kinematic movement, and I don't want to save this because this just waste, and I can actually delete it, I hope. Yep. See ya. And so you can take a look at these beautiful models of cars. We have a Mustang, and you have I'm really bad at car stuff, so I don't know what that is, and I don't even know if that's a Mustang. Okay. And so you can take a look here at some of the objects in the scene. Now we have a little bit more. And you can also disable the objects, so I can disable the light and they will get darker, or I can change the light, and I think in the game they will change, not here. Oh wow, that's ugly. But let's not do that. So you can change things here. I don't mind. They will look better or worse as long as they move. Okay. Light has been disabled, at least when it's in view. Well, whatever. Oh, ooh. Okay. So that's one way to look at it. Okay, and you can also see that here the main camera, instead of the skybox that you had before, it's selected solid color, and it looks ugly, but I think it looks better than, actually, oh, this might be cool. Okay, whatever. We'll keep it how it is. And then you have the blue and the green car here, okay? And you can also take a look at this item. You can see all the objects that they have. So this is the car object that we imported of that asset that I told you about, and you can take a look at this. So you can see all of their objects, and if I delete one of them, I will break. Okay, actually you can't, but because I would break, well, whatever. But this is the blue car, this is the green car, and this is something called the IO manager, which is a manager. This is quite normal to use in a game. You have a manager, and then you have their characters. Typically, the characters also have scripts associated to them, but I think the manager is doing everything they need to do by itself. And there's also the canvas object, which is something that I need to talk about, which is the user interface that tool that Unity provides us. So this is a canvas. It's where you can draw, I guess, or you can make stuff. And you can see here that it's a screen space overlay. And you can also take a look at here that if you open this, it has the instruction text, it has the blue movement and the green movement. And the cool thing about it is that you can see here their color, and you can change this. You can also change what they say. But for instance, when I press play, instructions only has this. But if I press play and then I pause, you can also see that instructions has plenty of more text because I added through code, okay? So almost all of these components can be accessed through code, which also allows us to do a lot of stuff, okay? So here, for instance, this is how I fill the instructions, and if I want to change them, I will change them on the code. And there's also the ability to change the spot of there. So here, if you hold Alt and you click here on the anchor, you just say, okay, I want you to be on the right side or on the left side or etc. And now I need to Control Z everything. Okay, cool. It's perfect. Okay. And so here, this is the kinematic movement. If I press play, you can see that if I set them to wander, they will wander. There's also something called gizmos that I need to talk about. So gizmos allows us to see stuff that normally we don't see. And what I mean by that is that not on this scene, but in the dynamic movement, you remember how I used debug.log to print stuff on the console? I can also use something like debug.draw line or draw array. And for instance, if you're looking at direction and if you're doing direction math or something like this, it's really useful to see if your math is right. So if I'm, for instance, I want to take a look at where my car is going, where there is the direction of my car, I can also do a debug.array, and then I can take a look at where they're headed. So for instance, here, if I set wander here, okay, wander is not working, but if I see flee, but I want the other one to put seek, and then I turn on the gizmos, you can see that for the seek, they are drawing the direction that they are going in. Okay. So, and this will be really useful for the following labs, but I will remind you, okay? So I think that's fine. And for this lab, you will have to do the dynamic wander. So if I press T, they won't search for each other, so they won't wander, not search for each other, but they won't wander. And they will also have to do a dynamic arrive, which means that they will seek, but they will need to arrive. Their acceleration will have to diminish once they are close to the target, okay? And I think that's all for now. And I hope I helped you some way as an intro to Unity. And if you want to give me feedback, please do. Go to the Discord or send me an email. And hopefully we will see you next week. And the lab files will be coming out either at the end of this week or the beginning of the next week, okay? So see you later, guys.